innovation is titled uh, Holistic Wellness. This is from TCS Research primarily, and we'll go to the details of the presentation. So, first is what is the problem statement we are trying to solve? So, the idea is to improve human quality of life using digital means. And for improvements, we have to have a measure of assessment, right? So, our current work is around how can we measure wellness, and why is it not obvious and why is it difficult? Is because wellness is a multi-dimensional, multifaceted entity, and it is not measurable using a single scale. So we are trying to come up with a holistic wellness score in our platform. So this consists of three components essentially. So one is a wellness score, which is primarily a rule-based and AI-based score. The second is Proxy Track, which is a proximity tracking solution. Why is it important? It is important in the aspect of, or in the perspective of COVID-19 and other such kind of, infectious diseases, which makes your proximity and location as surrogate markers for risk of infection. And we are trying to model that risk. And the third solution, third component of this innovation is C2P, which we are called cardiac care pathway, which is a method for wearable based, assessment of cardiac functions or assessment of cardiac wellness, because cardiac diseases are a major cause of mortality when it comes to wellness, especially in the little aged people. Yeah. So move to the next slide. So these are the key contributions and uniqueness of our wellness score. The first is that it is a multimodal score. While several of the wellness scores that exist in the market are often concentrated on one or few aspects of wellness, we have kept it around, physical, mental, and other kind of wellness all combined into a single, wellness score. The second is it is verified and validated by a rule engine created by multiple physicians on board, and hence captures their insights. So it has a clinical or pathophysiological correlation as well. And it is extendable. So you can put in more aspects or more dimensions of wellness, which can again, add to the score and make it richer and richer as time goes by. So as you can see, we have provided some comparisons. I'm not going into the details, but as you can see, our wellness score has almost all of the components that are required to be holistic. The next one is Proxy Track. Now, this is a proximity tracking solution. And this, again, we can say that there are multiple solutions today which do the same thing, including our Indian government Arogya Setu API, right? But this has some unique features, meaning that, first of all, the entire proximity detection algorithm can run directly on the user phone. So it's inherently privacy preserving, right? And the second part is that it can provide real-time alerts, right? Which means that if you go close to another person who is also having the app, you will get a real-time alert that you are breaking the social distancing norms, which is useful in settings like office and factory, where people are more affected about people getting infected rather than contact tracing, which is a more government application, right? So this is meant for enterprise settings. And the third one is cardiac care pathway, which actually uses your activity and physiology correlation to create an ADL based treadmill test, which is done in hospitals. So depending on the level of activity you do, we create a computational model of the heart based on the demography, and then try to come up with a correlation between the expected and the actual value. And for this we have actually a computational model for the heart we call a cardiac digital twin. I have not put the details due to shortage of time here. And this has potential to warn against those treadmill deaths that we are seeing so commonly today, even in celebrity people that getting death dying in the gym or dying on treadmill, right? And this has a validation that is ongoing in a hospital in Eastern India, and we have multiple cardiologists as board. And also this is going in for a larger trial where we wish to expand this board in a multi-center trial along with a cardiac association of India, cardiac body, which is India specific. So what are the benefits of this? So definitely this is one method, is that it can raise your self-awareness about wellness, which is itself a positive impact, that it can show you that you can be better than what you are today. Obviously, proxy track, because it gives you real-time alerts, encourages COVID appropriate behavior rather than just acting as a passive contact tracing application, right? And it can allow you to evaluate yourself, not only with respect to others in the same demography, because we use cohort matching algorithms, which are completely unsupervised, but also with respect to your recent past. So you can compare yourself with how I was 6 months earlier, and you can use the twin to actually evaluate how much the deterioration should have been and how much is there. So this can actually lead you to understand when you should go and get yourself checked, right, for any adverse event that may be happening in the near future. And this is some summary of what we have done actually. So there are multiple publications and patents for this solution that exist with us. We have even got some of the patents granted in the US and Europe geography, right? And we have also received some of the older patents have received their intent for grant in Indian geography. And as you can see, we have got publications in very good tier 1 ACM and IEEE journals and conferences. Right. So, and that's it from my side. I'm open to questions.
Uh, yeah, we're open for questions. Just a minute.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm trying to find out what you are trying to do. So if I'm a patient now, would this facility give me an alert? So if something dangerous is going to happen in the future, or is going to tell me exactly what is the current health status and allows me to consult physicians? Is this what you are trying to do?
Yes. So I would more concentrate on the latter, that it allows you to evaluate yourself and then allows you to take informed consultation from the physician. It may give you an alert, like if your score suddenly reduces to a large level, like from 8, it's a 10-point score. Okay, so if it comes from 8 to 3, you might get alerted and you might like to get an evaluation immediately, right? Because it has a very sharp fall. But otherwise, if you think of in normal cases, it won't take a sharp fall, right? You'll go from 8 to 7 to 6. And when you do so, you might think that, okay, I think something is wrong because it's deteriorating in a regular interval. So I might as well go and get myself checked. So it may not be directly clinical, but it's definitely an indicator.
Okay, and that one will help patients with COVID and cardiovascular diseases only?
No. So there are multiple models. Actually, I had, due to the interest of time, I could only show. We have cardiovascular systems. We have COVID, definitely, which we saw. Along with this, we have a mental health app, which is called TAPI. Okay, it was there in the appendix, but we couldn't put it in the main slide. So this is a digital companion that evaluates your mental health. Along with that, we have video and wearable-based ergonomics assessment. So your musculoskeletal health, your gait, your cardiovascular function, your overall demographic or that kind of health, your lifestyle, everything comes into purview.
Okay. Another and final question. In obstetrics, we try to use similar machine to alert patients if they are going to preterm labor, for example, to assess the kicking chart of the baby. Would that work on the same principle? Because that principle for identification of risk of preterm labor was at least 30 years ago.
So yes, I would say sensors will definitely help. Like I can think of if you put piezoelectric or accelerometer sensors on the tummy, it will definitely help, or even acoustic sensors, I would say, might help. I don't know how much of comfort or usability point because the person is already pregnant, she might be having pressure in her stomach. So I don't know how much the wearable she can do. If we can also we have also one solution called a human radar, which can do some kind of in-body imaging from a distance. So I think that might help again in preterm cases identifying labor, because it can identify the movement of the baby inside in some way.
Thank you.
So very quick question, Abhik. I think a nice kind of a presentation on what it could do. Uh, you know, so how would this be available to a patient or a customer, if I had to say, because it may not be a patient, it may be a normal person who want to utilize this. So how would this be made available to this normal person? How do you plan to reach to them?
Yes, sure. So there are three ways in which we are reaching out. The first one is definitely the way enterprise reaches out. We have, some of this is rolled out internally to us, like as employee, like TAPI, ProxyTrack. This is rolled out internally, and I think the wellness score will also be in a few quarters rolled out internally. So first thing is we will reach out to orgs as an employee wellness or employee welfare kind of initiative. The second is the payer community, because when a payer or insurance gives insurance to a large MNC, they will like the MNC employees to be fit. Right now, they have a lot of programs and all, but this is something that can measure their daily lifestyle and make assessments, which will be very beneficial for them, because they can reduce the number of hospitalizations, right? The third aspect that we are seeing interest is in the manufacturing sector, where people are doing heavy lifting or that kind of, or working in hazardous condition. They are looking for wearables and a video-based solution for the ergonomics or heart rate measurement of their employees, so that their health risk is mitigated, because I think they have to pay a hefty amount if something goes wrong with the labor. Okay, so they are looking at it as a safety solution kind of. So I think three avenues we are seeing.
But you're looking largely B2B kind of thing, not direct to customer kind of a thing.
Yes, we being TCS, our DNA is B2B. So we are not very good at B2C, so to say. So we are looking at B2B, right? We are not looking at B2C.
Okay, in terms of, although it will not matter because it's going to be B2B, so is it how competitive the cost would be around this? Like it will be on a subscription mode, it will be on what basis you're going to kind of charge this?
Yes, so I think it comes in multiple phases. Like there is a mobile only version, then there is a mobile plus wearable version. So right now what we are seeing is the mobile version, they are giving it free, like an app to every employee to, volunteer and take it. And the mobile camera doubles up as the camera, right? Which can do your ergonomics and all things measurement. The second, if it is put as a part of infrastructure sensor, like in a plant or a factory, where the surveillance cameras double up as your ergonomic cameras, then again it's a zero added cost, I would say. But the wearable right now, I think how people are approaching is, if there is already a wearable that is there with the people, like many of them have access control wearables for factories and all, if that can be reused, repurposed for capturing these cardiac parameters, or they are in some cases, like in IT sector, people may already have wearables and they just add a app which can capture that data from their Fitbit cloud or Google Fit or Apple cloud and get the data. So I see a mix of approaches, but I don't know which one will scale at 5-10 years down the line, which model will sustain.
Last question from me to you is, like you said, you're already been running this for your TCS employees right now. So is there any study done on how is it going to is impacting? Is there any specific benefits the TCS employees have actually got it from using this?
See, the mental health app has very positive reviews. However, I don't have the stats on how many it has actually benefited. Right, people have given very good reviews over it and says that it keeps you happy and all that. Regarding the proximity tracking, it definitely had a positive impact, because when we opened up after this lockdown, it was mandated that we should use that, and a lot of people said that it actually enforced this kind of social distancing, because otherwise people were coming together. They often forget in groups, right? They come together for a tea or coffee, and this gives an alert that you are breaking the norm and all that. So that way it was helpful.
So coming together is fine in terms of the wellness, whether it helped them in terms of reaching better wellness from what they are today and what they are expecting. So like you said, it gives alerts also. So any case examples which you have, which has actually kind of saved somebody's life, like we see, on, say, for example, Apple Watch alerted for this, he wanted to have a heart attack and they've been saved in life, So any such thing, maybe not to that extreme, but any such case example here?
No, I think we didn't find such drastic, as you said, examples. But yes, we did a comparison of the like two people, volunteers were exercising on the treadmill, and one of them could realize very well that that person was not doing as well as the others. So that was something that prompted that person probably to take up some mild workout so that the thing improves. So that kind of feedback we have seen, like, oh, I'm not good as good as the others, so probably I need to do something, but not something like this saved my life or I would have been hospitalized. That level I didn't see yet. I don't know if that has happened.
Okay, thank you.
Right. I thank you. I have a few questions. I mean, first of all, thanks for keeping to time, and second, for a clear presentation. And third, I think this is an exciting proposition because we require wellness apps. Where my concern and my questions to you, number one, is on what basis was this developed? Because the way you said it has been developed by cardiologists, but it is the opinion of the cardiologist and what the cardiologist believes. So is there a scientific basis behind the development of this app, and what were the things that were used in the back end?
Yes, so in some cases there were scientific basis. Like in medicine, what happens is even if there is a scientific basis, the numbers are not there. So meaning, I'll tell you an example, like NYHA classification. It says that people who can do activities of daily living without getting tired are class 1, people who have trouble.
I know. I mean, you can. I'm a cardiologist, so I know NYHA.
Okay, okay. So then in those cases, what we have done, we have got those classifications from there, and we have regressed the numbers on what is available in the literature or what experiments we did ourselves. So it was a mix of the cardiology knowledge, not opinion of a single cardiologist, so to say. The knowledge of the cardiologist, and the scores came from literature studies as well as experiments.
No, like, I mean, when we talk about wellness apps, I can give you some risk engines, like the UK-based risk engine, which gives you the age of your heart. You may be
Yes.
40 years now, but your age of the heart is 50 years, and what can you do to bring it down to 40? No, there is evidence for that because they have population-based evidence. In India, we don't have population-based evidence. So short of it, we require to do something, we use their evidence and create one. I'm asking what is the kind of evidence that has been used to create this app? And I was particularly concerned by the fact that you said it will help somebody who's going to die on a treadmill to identify that he's a high-risk subject. I mean, that kind of precision medicine is very, very far away, both here. So I was a little alarmed by that. But I just want to know what evidence you have used in the back end.
So the evidence that we have used is largely collected by us, as we said, in the tertiary care hospital. So it was a one-site study that we have done till now. And from there, we have collected the evidence and proven our study, and we have even published it. Right? The multi-center study is underway, and maybe by the end of this year, we'll have findings from what happens in the larger demography in 4 different centers around 30,000-40,000 people in India. What is the impact, and then we can give further inputs into the evidence. But the clinical trial as such has not happened yet. Yes, the scientific trial has happened on a smaller group of.
So if I have to modify what you have presented, you are saying that you have developed a proof of concept, you have piloted it in a small population, and you have embarked on a large clinical trial, and you are awaiting the results. So it is still in a formative phase.
Yes.
Okay, that's number one. Number two, in terms of qualitative evaluation, you have taken personal opinion, but I would suggest that you do a structured qualitative research in terms of opinion, maybe key stakeholder interviews, people who have used it, and there are methods of obtaining that. And I would suggest that you use it before it's widely publicized. Obviously, you can use it in your own community, but you have the potential to collect the data and collect it in a systematic manner. So that's a suggestion, not a question.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.